Hey guys, welcome back to Grizzle Fizzle BD. Today, this is my uncle. So today we're just going to be talking about fishing, crappie fishing, different stuff. Uh, so what's the best time for crappie fishing?
Oh, that's a well-asked question. Okay, rule of thumb is 3 days before full moon and 3 days after. Anything other than that, you wasting your damn time. They will bite, but you ain't gonna put a mess in the boat. Bottom line. It's just they're very temperamental. You gotta have a lot of patience, but when you find them, they there. So get on your shit, and when they hit, you best be tugging.
Yeah. Another thing is what you usually do to get high population of crappie in a certain area is you create a what do you call it?
Structure.
A structure. You can sink a bolt hole, some twigs, some branches of a oak tree, pine tree, this different stuff. Just throw down this different stuff.
Christmas trees work best. If you can get you an abundance of Christmas trees, folks throwing them away, stuff like that. Tops, of cedar trees, which is a Christmas tree, whatever, if you can find them. But really, just tops is always the best. But you use your limbs, and what you do, you just put them in your boat hole. Providing you in a lake that they don't mind you sinking holes, because crappie, when they get to some good structure, they generally don't ever leave. I mean, once they're there, they're there. So what I do is I pretty much make my own structure. They want us to go out there and sink boats, put a lot of good brush piles in there, because it provides home for the crappie, keeps our crappie flourishing real good and everything. Uh, you know, a lot of lakes don't discourage from sinking boat holes. It's a good way to, float your structure out there. And what you'll do is you'll take it and bind it down. You'll get it the way you want it. Get it bundled as tight as you can get it. The tighter the better. And then you bundle it real good with some nylon rope or some, cheap straps or what have you. Then you go out there and you sink it. What I like, you take the plug out. A lot of times that will work. Some of these older boats like Ranger, I really like Ranger anyway, that they might not sink as well, but you want to make darn sure that if you're going to sink that hole, that it goes all the way down to the bottom. You don't want folks out there on a boat and hitting shit and all that kind of stuff. It becomes a safety issue. So if you're going to sink it, take your cordless drill out there or something with a good 1/2-inch drill bit. Or masonry bit's real good. Get it started with a regular drill bit. Take your masonry drill bit that's long and finish it off. And pop you a hole in the front and the back. Make sure you get it sunk real good. And then you go out there. Just remember where your structure is. You do that after about, a good month or so, month and a half, 2 months. Your leaves have time to rot and everything, and to make a good structure. And that's how you bait up crappie. But there again, always make sure that whatever lake you in honors that. That way you don't get in trouble. But if they don't honor it, it's the same concept. Just take your limbs and your tops, you bundle them, sink them, but make damn sure you remember where they at. Because if you don't, you're just wasting your time. And then, the other trick that is, you take your depth finder, take your fish finder, and then you put your anode there on your anode. I call it anode. Some other folks may call it something else. But anyway, you sonar and put it there on your trolling motor. That way you can get right over the top of it, because you want to be right. You want to be right over the top of it. And, your trolling motor is always on the front of the boat. But if you got it off the back, it's just, the rule of thumb is the man in the front of the boat is going to catch the most fish. The man in the back of the boat, he's going to catch the ass end of it. But that's the way it goes. It's just you want to be sitting right over the top of them rascals. And then when you sink your structure, you go ahead and make you put it in your memory Rolodex of your depth. that you sunk it to. And that brings me back to my next thing. I meant to touch on this earlier. You always want to make sure you sink that thing in around 20 foot of water. You can't go too shallow. First and foremost, it would be a safety issue. But and second of all, crappie like real deep, dark water. You want to always look for at least a body of water that's at least 15 foot deep. But if you really want to get on the ball, you need around 20 to 25. I like it somewhere in the middle, about 20 to 23. And then again, you don't want to be doing this stuff out there in swim areas and ski areas. You want to always find a spot of the lake that, is strictly for fishing. Just in case, like I say, some of these holes, they hard to sink. But like I say, always check, with your county codes or your lake regulations, and make sure that they're comfortable with you sinking old boat holes and stuff. But they want us to take care of our crappie, and 7 times out of 10, it's not a problem. But anyway, so that's that on that. What else we doing today?
The right fishing gear is key. What I would recommend is 6-pound test. One, because crappie are really finicky fish. They don't bite anything. They don't bite just anything. So you have to use the right pound test, the right gear, and it'll be a lot easier.
You were listening. I did learn my nephew something. Yes, you want to use a light pound test. Okay, what else did I tell you about the depth with your pole?
20 feet.
Well, 20 foot for your structure, pile. You want at least 20, 25 feet. And where did I tell you to set your crappie pole at?
Right in the front.
Right in front,
over the top.
but on depth. Generally, your crappie poles, and they're a special kind of pole. So I'll go on and touch on this. I'm not going to play trivia too long. I want to trivia them. But anyway, your crappie poles are always going to be between 8 and 10 feet. You can get them at Academy Sports, somewhere like that. You can order them. But what you do, I like a 10-foot pole, because naturally, if you got your structure sunk 20 feet, between your boat hole is going to be about 3.5 foot tall. You're always going to build your structure at least 3 foot off of that. So that's 6 foot, you're 20 foot down. Sometimes you may want to knock them in the head. Sometimes you may want to get down there about midway your boat and just kind of, because they're going to be all around it. But if you got a 10-foot pole, I like to stay, what you do is you pull your line out and you pull it right down there, and that's why they make them long. So that way it's not so hard to gauge. You pull your hook down there to the end of it's very straightforward, very simple. You'd be surprised though, the folks that don't know this. You pull it down there to the end of your pole, and that's 10 foot. Okay? 8-foot pole, you just pull it out about another 2 foot. If you're in 20 foot of water, that's usually good. If you want to get right above your structure, because you're going to snag like hell if you get really right down there in it. You want to be, give or take a couple foot here and there, inch-wise, off your structure.
Yeah.
But
I got a 10-minute limit on my video.
Oh, did it cut off?
No, it's the one.
Oh, well, you're going to have to edit this some bit. No, he's not. We're still rolling. But anyway, just always buy you a 10-foot pole. There's a technique to this stuff, for everybody that's watching. I like a 10-foot crappie pole. Like I say, I always try to find a 20 to 25 foot body of water. That way it kind of, and it's okay to go 15 foot, but that, write this stuff down. Sometimes this stuff's hard to remember because they're real temperamental. You're too deep, you're not going to catch them. You're too shallow, you're not going to catch them. Wrong time of month, you're not going to catch them. But they're a real fun fish to get into. One of the best eating fish. A lot of folks don't eat them because they're damn hard to catch. They're a temperamental fish. But anyway, once you get the technique down, and and find your structures. I mean, you can go out there and find structures that other crappie fishermen have put. You know, take a little long, but once you find them, they there. Structure lasts a real long time. But anyway, if you want to put forth effort, you can have a lot of fun with it. You know, a lot of fun with your kids and wife and everything, and you'll really enjoy it. And I tell you what, nothing makes a grease stink better than a crappie. What fishermen are we?
Crappie.
Crappie. Say it with passion. Motherfucker, you got me up here. What kind of fishermen are we?
Crappie!
Thank you. Alright, what else you want to ask me?
I think because the video's already almost 11 minutes, I guess we gotta close the curtains on this one for now.
Well, you're going to have a hell of a lot of editing to do on
I know
this.
it's going to be about a 2-hour editing.
We'll say, alright, we'll say, well, this was me and my uncle on crappie fishing, and we'll see you next trip.
If it ain't outdoors, it ain't worth it.